fat, cause it's judging Silicon Valley.
Now, give it up for your hosts, Ryan and Jen.
Alrighty then.
I don't say
My
alrighty
name is
then.
Ryan.
I don't say
Cronin.
alrighty then. I've never said alrighty then.
Alrighty poo.
I've never-
My name is Ryan Cronin.
No, alrighty poo, I can't say because famously that's what Ace Ventura said. Alrighty poo. Alrighty poo. I can't, as we know, famously.
My name is Ryan Cronin.
famously.
Welcome to the podcast. Our guest is back with his new beer. We have stalled sufficiently.
Are we starting?
We've started.
We've started?
This is it.
Well, wait, then I didn't really... All right, everybody, welcome back to Judging Silicon Valley. Of course, this is the show where we judge Mike Judge's show about
He can't just
Silicon
let it start
Valley.
naturally. He has to do it all formal.
Well, I have to, again, the notes.
game show host.
I get pages of notes from Jeff for our 45-minute
Pages.
podcast. Pages.
Usually
Pages of
complaining
notes.
about him advertising the wrong thing on Facebook.
That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. But here we are, everybody. Welcome. This is for Season 2, Episode 4, titled The Lady. And joining us, this is our first official, we had an argument about this, our official first repeat guest, Mr. Brian Fields. Brian.
Thank you for having me
at this
again.
guy.
I
Look
must
at
have
this
been
guy.
so good to be your first repeat
have
guest.
Actually,
Must have,
no,
yes.
but you were
Must
the
have
first Twitter write-in campaign we've ever had.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't joined Twitter yet. Is it taking off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least the 75 people that
is.
follow us on Twitter
It is.
Wow.
really
It is.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we're pretty hot. We're pretty hot. Well, here we are, Brian. Good to see you. Good to see
Good
you.
to see you.
So we're going to jump into this episode here, but May the 4th be with you, everybody. That's right. It's Star Wars Day, May 4th.
or it was when we recorded this.
That's true. That's true. And also this past weekend, big weekend, we had the Kentucky Derby. We had the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight.
I got on my motorcycle again. It was-
Whoa, how about
champion
that?
week
Age
all
of Ultron came out. So there's a lot here. Anything before we get into this increasingly boring HBO series? Anything else you want to talk about before
Wow.
we get into that?
That's it. It's the show's about the series, right?
I know.
Okay,
But, anything else we want to talk about so we can just have some joy before
Right.
we get into
Wow.
this episode?
Wow. Well,
Negative Nancy over here.
the fight wasn't any more exciting than the show. No. It was just a bunch of two old guys my age. Two old guys just dancing around, my height too, actually. Just dancing around each other for like 40 minutes. And then they collect $200 million each.
Each?
Yeah.
Biggest payout in boxing history. Most expensive pay-per-view event in the history of pay-per-view.
Someone told me it was $5,000 to get a bar license.
I don't know.
To have it at a bar, which is fucking insane.
I think so because most bars that were showing it were charging at least a minimum of $30 to get in the door. So yeah, kind of crazy. We watched it at the Cronin household. I think the best way to sum it up is I saw this going around on the interwebs. Is it's an old clip of a very early black and white Jerry Lewis movie where he's a boxer, where he's just running around in a circle.
Right.
That's kind of what we paid $100 for.
That was
on set.
pretty
Who's
much
we?
it.
Yeah,
Yes.
the Cronin household.
This we
Cronin
didn't pay
household.
shit.
I watched it in a bar for $35.
You did. You
yes.
did pay. See?
And it was,
There you go.
It
Which
was,
bar?
It was the Condor Club.
Oh,
Ooh, nice.
fancy.
Yeah.
That's the oldest strip club in San Francisco.
A lot of
It's a
strippers
class
were watching
place.
it with us.
For those who don't know, though, the Condor Club during the day has the window shades up,
That's
and at
true.
night puts them
Yep.
down.
That's
Yeah.
right. They put it down for the fight.
But are there strippers during the day?
Not
No.
usually,
Not
but there
usually.
was for during the fight. They had like a stripper bout.
Like topless? Oh, really?
Yeah, they had a stripper.
Let's talk
bout,
about that.
where
All
they
right.
just like fought each other with balloons.
Very good.
Yeah, balloons. I know. I was very upset. I was
Like
hoping
balloon
for like
boxing gloves or just hitting each
just
other with
big old
like,
balloons.
phallic balloons?
Yeah, just
Okay.
banging. Which they seemed to be going at it a little bit, but I was kind of hoping for one of those Zoolander fights, where they just kind of do the poses with the.
They burst
Yeah.
into flames? You want to see two strippers explode
no
at a
fight.
gas station?
There was no fight at the gas
Well,
station.
there was all right.
But they had a dance off.
yeah.
Yeah.
They could have at least done like fucking Jello wrestling or something.
Right, that would have been better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really boxing.
I'm a little
but come
jaded, but like the Condor Club just isn't sexy enough. It's
on. Or
like
at least a slap fight.
It is probably the most family friendly
yeah.
strip club.
I would bring my
in
kids there,
North
no
Beach.
problem.
Yeah.
All 7 of them.
Yes.
How about Derby Day? Anybody care?
No.
Anybody care? Didn't.
Was
think
there
so.
Derby?
There was the Kentucky Derby happened.
Oh, the hat derby.
Yeah, the hat derby.
Yeah,
we
I've
went.
heard
we
of that.
yeah, started drinking the mint juleps very early in the day.
What day was that?
Very early. Saturday. This was a big day. It was
Ah.
that, and then straight into the
That would
boxing.
explain the
Yeah.
weirdly dressed people I saw on my way to breakfast.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I just thought it was like San Francisco.
Yeah. It's very Kentucky Derby. I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky. Kentucky Derby is, I think Hunter Thompson said it the best. It is decadent and depraved and slightly racist. I think it's just
Kentucky Derby's racist?
Yeah, I think
because
so.
of the color of the horses? Or?
No, I just think it's definitely a rich white person's holiday to a degree. You know what I mean? It's just you feel uncomfortable partaking in
It's
it.
like a polo outing.
Yeah, and the only way
what's
to
it there-
forget that you're like this feels really classist is to just drink as much bourbon on ice as possible with a sprig of mint in it. Yeah,
In your seersucker suit.
yeah. I mean, I put
Yeah.
the tie on and put the hat on
Right.
because yeah,
You
There
like
go.
to be dressed well.
I do. And then also Age of Ultron. I don't know if we want to talk about that, Jeff, at all. Just quick recap here. It is the number
I
1 movie in the world
I think
right
that
now.
movie could have been 45 minutes shorter, and I wouldn't have been upset, and I would have liked it better.
Okay, so it was a length issue.
I don't think it was all length.
No.
But if they cut out the crap, I think it would have been more compact and less offensive. Not saying it was that offensive. Like, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I didn't come out angry like I did with
Yeah, me
Schindler's
neither.
List.
Yep. So we're comparing Age of Ultron to Schindler's List.
Well, Schindler's List, I'm like,
Let me get the word out.
Where's the balloon wrestling?
yeah, they probably didn't have any strippers in there.
Yeah.
It was like the Condor Club for Holocaust movies, really. at
You
the end of
know,
the day.
yeah.
Bring your kids. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I'm kind of with you. Age of Ultron, kind of the same as the HBO series Silicon Valley. What it's missing is full penetration. Full penetration is what I've been looking for. That would have been a much better Avengers
How long have you been looking
sequel.
for that, Ryan?
A long time. Since Dream On went off the air. Yeah.
Dream On was good.
That's it. In my opinion, no HBO series, even Game of Thrones, can top Dream On. Dream On. All right.
What about the hit USA show, Silk Stockings?
Silk Stockings pretty good. Yeah. Well, fuck. Yeah, let's just go with Up All Night with Rhonda Shear if we're really going to get into quality
What about
television
all the David
programming.
Duchovny specials?
You know, I never saw Californication. Was there
Never.
a lot of sex?
There's like 500 episodes.
It's just nothing but sex scenes?
That's all it is.
But it's David Duchovny.
What's funny is that
Right.
So you watch David Duchovny fuck...
Lots of people, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, well, just
right.
like real life.
while depressed, just like real
Yes.
life. Yeah.
Okay.
I've
You
seen
just
like 2
wish you were
episodes.
David. Yeah, it's great.
Silk Stockings was fucking awesome. I remember watching that and being like, "What?"
I feel like
not even trying. It's just phoning it in.
I'm more a fan of Emmanuel in Space. I don't know if we're going to go that deep there. The Emmanuel series, where this is back where cable would come with 2 coaxial cables, and if you switch the cables from A to B, you could get Showtime.
Oh,
I would do that
I
after
remember
midnight.
that.
Yeah, I would do that after midnight or circa 1989, 1990.
Ryan was 23 at the time.
I was 23 years old in 1990. That's very true for those of you looking at this old sad man on YouTube. Okay, so that's what
He is
happened this
sad.
weekend. You guys ready for, here we go, episode 4 of season 2 of Silicon Valley. It's called The Lady, directed once again by Alec Berg. Mike Judge did episode 1 and 2. Alec Berg stepping into the director's chair for episode 3 and 4.
Alec Berg,
Alec Berg, there we go. He's executive co-producer and writer of this.
executive co-producer.
Titled The Lady. So there's a lot in that title there. We're talking about certainly a new character. that we
Partially
meet.
referring to Jared.
Yes, we are. So yeah, it's hitting on a lot of things. Jared, our new character, and then as well as a certain douchebag's babysitting technology, which is
Yes.
actually the name.
Ah,
so it's
right.
hitting 3 areas
Right, I didn't
here.
think about
Yeah,
that.
3
Yeah.
areas here.
Wow. You really dig deep on this
I do
show.
dig
Yeah.
deep. Now this one, I'm just going to say this, and I'll try and do I'm going to try and do a 20-second recap this time, but I'm going to say this.
My favorite episode.
You know, that's really, and I really want to talk to you about that because it's my least favorite episode.
I can understand why.
Really?
From a writing standpoint.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Do a recap.
Well, that's easy. Okay, so you ready?
Yeah, I'm gonna go now.
Okay, basically, episode 4, The Lady, we're picking up here where the fact of Dinesh and Guilfoyle needed some staffing. They're going to hire a girl. Carla Walton is introduced to us, a new character, and that's basically the entire episode.
You almost went over 20 seconds.
Wow, okay.
You were 3 seconds.
See, the
short.
problem of why I was able to do it so concisely, and this is my whole issue with the episode, Jeff, is the writing. There are no stakes raised. There is no conflict. There's nothing
conflict.
to overcome.
Come on.
Well,
in
there
this
was
episode.
Erlich.
Erlich's whole thing with
That the Laurel and Hardy shit is wonderful, and I want more of that. And we know
No.
Well, with Jin Yang, which I know
no,
we're going to talk
talking
about.
Erlich's
No.
and Richard's tension. I don't know how else to describe.
Yeah,
it.
no,
Right. Well, it's because of the Jared person that they wanted to hire and all that. That's some tension.
Jared Patakian, yes, the
Yes.
cyborg. Yes.
Other
Well,
other Jared.
Yeah, not other Jared.
Okay. But we'll start with you, Brian.
I think the problem with the show actually was it's just that the jokes were kind of terrible, but like they were actually good. I think it was good. Like it was like it did well talking about Silicon Valley this time compared to some
I
other.
thought
episodes.
so too.
Yeah.
I thought
Really?
the feminist discussion over hiring was more accurate
was
discussion that they've ever
Dead
had.
on.
No,
was
that's
dead on.
that's awesome, and so and I have as you can see, this is the top of my notes here.
Right.
I love this because again, for those of you out there, I do actually work within technical staffing and
And
staffing
Brian's
in general.
an engineer.
Yeah.
I'm an engineer.
That's right. So there you go. So, but I love this quote. All right. So this is they're trying to figure out as a team. There's a lot of great lines around this, but this one, and I believe this is said by Dinesh. So you're saying we want to hire the best people who happen to be women, regardless of whether or not they happen to be women, because that part is irrelevant. I like that. That's basically what's going on within 21st century, 2015 human resources and staffing in general, particularly within the technical industry.
We're all dudes talking about this, which may skew it too. But
No, but the thing is, I am not I don't think that I'm a sexist person, but the thing is,
I believe you are.
no, but
How many people admit like, yeah, I'm
No.
actually a sexist?
no, but see that statement
Unlike
kind of.
racism, sexists tend not to come out. And
No, but that's-
racists are
but
like, yeah,
that-
I'm fucking racist. I hate those people.
No, I got you. No, but this statement kind of encapsulates the whole thing of how politically correct and self-aware. It's getting to a point of affirmative action, but as far as when we're dealing with
That's a
with
very
female
sexist thing to
hires.
say, Ryan.
Yeah, you sexist.
No.
face.
Yeah, they're just good engineers.
You're
Yes, I know. And our character,
Come on,
our
Jared.
character, Carla Walton makes exactly that point of I'm not a female engineer, I'm an
Right.
engineer.
I have a. That's the picture I got for this.
But here's the
episode.
thing. But here's the thing. From being
Her
on the
doing engineer or whatever in quotes.
Yeah.
I understand that, but from being on the inside, you guys are aware that most companies, and it's certainly large companies, have what's called a hiring quota, and so they take a look at the workforce, and most workforces, particularly within tech, are nothing but white guys. Potentially, there's also Middle Eastern or Indian men, but it's all men. And they look at that, and so what's spoken behind closed doors, but it's known as a hiring quota, is, okay, we need what are called diversity hires. And actually, female hires fall into what's called diversity.
I've never been privy to that.
I think you're just making us up,
Why
Ryan,
would I-
in your
why?
sexist mind to try to
I know.
shoot down the female. Well, why? Why would you do that?
Because quite frankly, I think a woman's place.
I'm starting to become a diversity
woman's
hire
place.
as I get older.
Yes.
Well,
In
that's
the kitchen.
true. Yeah, you're the old
Barefoot.
hire now. Yeah,
Yeah.
we need more
Barefoot
old
women.
guys. That's what they're always saying.
We need
more old white
people,
guys.
women, and preferably someone from Latvia because we have no Latvians.
I think
right.
you're right that like they get a lot of trouble. They get the companies that don't have enough women, like Google, gets a lot of trouble for not having enough women, even though they have more women than most tech companies.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Google, Facebook, all these the big players those names that they know, their hiring procedure and process rivals the CIA and the FBI as far as so many background reference checks, the amount of degrees and qualifications and credential that you need.
That's not true because I somehow got an interview at Google.
It seems like not really true at all.
No.
I
You
don't
got
know
an
if Ryan
interview,
has
but
said
you didn't
anything.
get the job.
I didn't get the job because there was an asshole on Android, and I basically told him to go fuck himself. But that,
Well,
that was.
there you go. But
Wow.
no, my point,
that was a non-starter. I think.
my point is no, and I understand this. But you know, those companies are like, wow, look at their workforce. But it's not as if that they shouldn't be. It should be based solely on merit, performance, and credential. I don't know if it. You know what I'm saying, boy? Because now I'm going into some
You're just going-
gray
you're going
territory where then HR at Google has to say, no, it's not that we have not decided to hire women. We're deciding to hire those resumes that meet the highest qualification. And I think we can agree that females within within tech is certainly a minority. So it is possible that those, simply because of volume, the number of resumes that make it to the hiring manager's desk are probably non-female.
I'm not touching this 10-foot
All
pole.
right. I'm asking questions. I'm not making statements.
I will. This is what I'll say. This is what I'll say. It's not that it's the problem is often told as if it's a hiring problem, that you're not hiring the women.
Sure.
But that's not fundamentally the problem. The problem is a workforce problem, right? That there's just not that many women in the workforce. And it's an interesting thing. The reason that that's the case is like to understand that is interesting, because like women used to make up a majority of the programmers before, well back before, like you would have
Keep talking.
In the 80s, before you had personal computers in all the homes. Women made up a majority of the programmers.
So working for like IBM or something,
Right.
where everyone's working together for the, you know,
Don't use your sexist ideology.
it's not a sexist thing,
Try
but
to
I-
explain
but I'm thinking
why
80s,
women
like-
were in the industry then.
like,
they
like
just
it's
were.
a scene from 9 to 5. They all
Okay.
work for Mr. Hart.
You guys let me know when you're done blowing out the microphones.
No, he's
Sorry.
never going to.
No.
Hey, Jeff is talking about mic etiquette. Everybody.
Rip,
Hold on.
rip headphone users.
Yes. Okay, listen.
I'm listening. Everyone's listening.
There was a change, and the change happened largely because of how personal computers were marketed initially into the home. They were marketed as toys, and they were marketed as toys for boys. And so you always
toys
saw
toys
boys.
for very rich boys.
Fine, but it's still
I mean,
boys.
but the first PC was
Even when they expanded,
$10,000 in mid '80s.
I know,
really
but like
expensive.
eventually it got lower.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes,
Thank you.
and it was still marketed for boys.
Jeff is still here, everybody. Yeah.
And so that what we're seeing now is the generation of people that grew up that way, and it's self-enforcing.
So this actually ties back into the entitled man-child tech bro.
If we
kind of
actually
thing.
look at where the distribution turned from men to women, it was right around the time Schindler's List came out, which was weird. I'm not sure if it's related.
Is it circumstantial, or
I don't know
do
if that's
you have
causation
a theory?
or correlation.
Do you have a
or
theory?
what.
Is there a room 237 theory
I want
here?
to hear it. Like,
Yeah.
could you expound upon that?
Is
trying-
it about the moon landing?
I'm
That's what I
trying to
wanna know.
lighten the mood by bringing up Schindler's List.
Right. I
Lighten the
understand.
mood.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we're talking about a real issue here. I don't know if you can handle that on your little toy podcast you got.
No.
But we're talking about something.
This is
that's
not. This is not a
fundamental.
1980s personal
But I
computer
think
toy, sir.
now it's beyond that. It's beyond that self-enforcing junk, but there's something to be said for.
Well, it's not. I mean, the
talking
problem is
about
that once you
hiring policy.
once you start it going,
It
then
steamrolls.
it becomes like
Yeah.
you don't. It becomes a cultural norm.
Yeah.
right? And then that's kind of like people fall into cultural norms very, very quickly and easily. Everybody does.
Well, you could argue that this is also a degree of Freakonomics, which is it was a great book, a silly documentary, but there is a piece in Freakonomics talking about names, right? So that's a completely straight line, which is a good thing.
You're
right,
not
Jeff?
supposed to be that flat.
Okay, I'm going to stop talking what I'm talking about here, Jeff.
You should
Let's talk about how microphones work on podcasts because every episode.
I want this to be
is that.
heard, which Brian's doing a great job.
Yeah.
I want
Great.
to commend Brian on bringing up an interesting social issue with some
Yes.
data
Yeah.
and using the mic correctly.
there you go.
The mic, we have to talk about the mic.
If
we
we
have to
can-
talk
if-
about the
if
mic.
you can bring
because
IHOP
people
into this
really
conversation,
care. Yeah.
IHOP.
Yeah.
Yes, then you get
All right.
you get a
There you go.
third invite back to the podcast.
Great.
Yeah.
That's such a great prize that you have
Yeah.
there. Is that the number one grand prize?
Number one grand prize is a third beer and a third
Ooh,
invite.
That's
Yeah.
okay. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Sweeten the deal a lot.
So, you're right. It is a self-fulfilling problem,
Right.
and it's one that needs to be actively pushed against in order to correct. But it's not something that corrects instantly either. Just like it took a while to steamroll.
Right, and I don't actually think that it corrects based on hiring policy either.
No, you got to start in like schools.
You got to start early on education, really, yeah, and that's and making it sort of, interesting to different sexes, like, and then there's differences, and like when you introduce things and things like that, it makes a big difference. Like if you look at like
STEM schools, the whole thing, and the problem is most inner city schools, they have cut STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, and so
cut
I understand
everything.
what you're saying is you have to start there. I totally agree with that, but the reality is that's not going to happen because
No, but it's
that is being cut.
It's even worse than that. A couple people were pointing out. Someone actually posted a picture of this. Marvel has an Avengers toy set for Age of Ultron, right?
Well,
It's I don't want to say related to tech, but it's that same kind of sphere. If you're nerdy, you like that kind of thing, and you're probably into computers. Girl, boy, doesn't really matter. It's just they kind of get. It's the same kind of brain things that cause, I think, those things to to be interesting to you.
I think it might be built into the culture that those are related.
It's
but sure.
possible, but they don't have fucking Black Widow in the fucking toy set. They have every other Avenger except for her. It's like a penis fest in there. Mind you, she
That's
is
weird,
the only
actually,
female Avenger.
Because
Well,
even
wait.
the guys want to see the woman.
Wait, no,
Exactly,
no,
right?
no, wait. So think back.
But
no.
Someone pointed out to
I
Target.
did-
Hold on. And
Yeah.
Target said it's available on our website. And they're like, what the fuck? Like, you have to go to the website.
Having it on the website is ridiculous, and it is ridiculous that. So you're saying this is like a play pack and you get all the toys, but not
Yes.
Black Widow. That's ridiculous. But let's be honest though. Me, little kid, Star Wars toys. I didn't have Princess Leia.
I am Princess Leia.
Well, I didn't, but I just wasn't interested in having the Princess. As a matter of fact, I'm like, I don't want that. G.I. Joe. I didn't have Scarlet or Lady J.
I had the Baroness. Damn right I had
I
the
didn't
Baroness.
have Baroness either. I just didn't want.
Brian's
You,
like-
you have been sexist since you were a kid.
No, potentially, but also it's whatever lunatic is in charge of toys now, and again, anyone whose career it is to make and sell toys to children is a lunatic, and they've been lunatics forever. So whatever this new group of lunatics are people our age who I guess this guy is like, no, I never played with Lady J, so I'm not putting Black Widow in there. This is a jump for me, but some little boys.
Are you
it's weird
going
that-
somewhere with this?
Well, as a little boy, I was not interested in having a female
Right, and
girl toy.
So what
You know what I mean?
is the conclusion based off that?
That's why the decision was made in that play pack.
Because like you figure other little boys today are just like you were when you were little.
Yeah, but who put the play pack together? Probably someone
You did.
like me.
Did you
it's
put it
me. I'm actually the guy behind it. That's
I
true.
see
Yeah.
Yeah, well, now we know where all of today's problems with sexism come from.
Okay. All right. Yeah. We did it, guys. We did it. For some reason, that song plays. All right.
We're gonna get nowhere with this conversation
No,
It's going
whatever.
well.
All right. All
at
right.
the end of the day. But I did
No,
want to
we-
point
We're
out
feeling good. All right.
this whole hiring conversation. The
Let's
one
get back to
woman they
that.
do hire is Alice Wetterlund, who's on Girl Code, one of my favorite MTV shows of all
Jeff,
time.
you did know that. You did
Girl
know
Code?
that. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But you didn't know her name. You were looking at
No,
my
I
notes.
knew her name,
Really?
dude.
Yes, she is. She's Upright Citizens Brigade.
I saw it.
Yeah.
I had to double check because she looks different because she did the punk hair
Yes,
thing on the
Girl
show. But
Girl Code. She's in the interview.
Yeah.
And I think here's the connection. We talked about this last episode. She was in again bit part in New Girl, but as we know, Alec Berg has directed some episodes of New Girl. So I think that's where maybe
The tie-in.
the connection was.
Did you know her?
No.
Do you know Girl Code? Sexist.
No, you know what? She had a familiar face. I thought, I'm like, oh, boy, I know I've seen that actress, but I was wrong. But
No, I like her a lot, and
about
her like dry sarcasm sort of comes through on the show.
Great addition.
Yeah.
Great addition. The cunty thing, fantastic. Yeah.
You just like the word.
No, of course I love the word cunty. I love the word cunty, but you could see true comedic chops.
I'm going to have to flag this as explicit.
True comedic chops. Everyone loves cunty. True comedic chops where Jared is like, please stop saying that
Well, it's
word.
not used in the sexual sense. It's her friend. Her
Right.
friend's
Right.
name is
Yeah.
Cunty.
Yeah, it's a nickname.
She goes, so please don't say that, so I won't say cunty anymore. Yes, and that will be the end of that. Okay, I just won't say cunty anymore. Okay, please don't. No more cunty, and then walks away. So that's good. That's good stuff. Yeah. So okay, the episode. The episode. All right, we got the juices.
Now that we got
flowing
the
now.
social commentary on
Yeah.
the way.
Well, what the fuck?
Isn't that what this is about?
It
Well,
is,
that's-
and
hey,
yes, I
Yes.
think it's important because it is like as you and I identified it.
That was a key. That was a key scene.
It was a key scene in the show, and
Yeah.
probably the most true scene to
It was very good.
stuff that
It was
actually
very well
happens.
done.
So
Yeah, good stuff. The hiring
closing that
stuff.
out,
Yeah, and I mean this episode again.
it had some gems.
It did have some gems. It was my least favorite. Getting to the show, it's my least favorite because of the writing. Meaning, I feel.
Oh, can you explain to me what writing
No,
means, please?
I feel that its caliber of writing
Yes.
is absolutely appropriate for a webisode, but not for an HBO show that directly follows Game of Thrones, where, again, I didn't feel any stakes were raised. I didn't feel that there was any kind of conflict. At the end of the episode, I'm like, well, what happened? They hired somebody. What did they overcome? There was nothing overcome,
There was nothing overcome, but I think they set up conflicts. They set up, and maybe Brian can actually talk at some point. But they set up Erlich's insecurities.
Except for the 20 minutes that you talked earlier. Again,
But that
Jeff-
was good.
Yeah, all right.
I'm just trying more to tell you to shut up and let Brian talk because he's better at talking.
Okay.
But they set up Erlich's insecurities and a potential conflict between Erlich and Richard, which may or may not happen. They definitely set up the pay scale conflict, right, between
But it's
Dinesh
not-
and
but
Guilfoyle.
But it's not real.
It's not a real one.
It's not real.
They're all paid the
She
same.
was fucking around the whole time, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, D&G.
What they
That's just
set
like
what they
Dinesh
set
and
up was
Guilfoyle.
what they set up was a relationship, a low stakes
Yeah.
relationship actually, which maybe is not the thing that you like, but it's like a low stakes workplace relationship.
We knew right away, which is actually a good thing, that Dinesh and Guilfoyle are big fans of Carla.
Yes.
And they're like, because at the end of the day, Dinesh and Guilfoyle actually get shit done. And so even though all
Do
the
they?
games and all that, well, they do. I mean, they took
I've never seen them.
Richard's concept and made it real, and they're constantly working. So I don't know what they're doing, but they're constantly working.
Facebook.
Yeah,
Well,
probably. I want to
but-
see how
But
many
then that would be
integration
on
tests they
screen.
have.
Why hide that? It would be funny. It would be on screen of like these guys are fucking around. They're not. They're trying to get everything ready for CES. But no, the thing with
Other Jared.
no. But
good.
with Erlich and Richard is, I don't think there really was a conflict. It was kind of it was a closed loop because Erlich was actually, the whole reason was Erlich was saying, don't hire the cyborg. He fucked me over when I tried to hire him for Aviato.
Sure.
Right? And he was right the whole time. When it ended up
Sure,
that the
but
cyborg did
he
it again.
clearly was more mad at Richard for not listening
for
to him
not listening to him. But
and
yeah.
not valuing him. And
Yeah.
he's clearly felt that way from Hanneman. And I'm hoping that continues.
Yes.
Like, not that he gets shit on, but yes, I do want him to get shit on because
Yeah,
it's funny.
I mean, he's a guy that you just want to shit on, really.
But I don't know. We'll see. But you're right. I think overall weaker than other episodes. Still my favorite because of Jin Yang and fucking Alice Wetterlund.
So let's talk about Jin Yang. All right, because I knew you'd be happy about this.
I love me.
Those of you out there, Jeff
I'm racist.
loves Jin Yang.
Really?
He is a very
Sexist, racist.
Charlie Chan character.
Charlie Chan?
You know, I was reading because it's a little bit of like, me no not English. Oh, ho, 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 ho. You know, that's kind of what it is. It's like, yikes, you can't really do that. I'm hoping there's a reveal that he speaks perfect English and this is all a trick. Or there
So
has to be some kind of redemption.
that you can't do? You can't have a character that doesn't speak good English, or that you can't make fun of it.
Well, this is where I think they're walking a tightrope. And I think that earlier the joke has been his silly accent. When you get into some better writing where we're talking about where the recycling and the trash goes, now that gets better because it's about miscommunication. That's funnier because the punchline is miscommunication, not, oh, me eat fish. You know, like that's...
Yeah, I see.
You know what? That's
I found that joke
Andrew Dice
tired,
Clay.
to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah,
What joke?
the one about the trash.
Oh,
I was like, okay, I don't know, whatever.
But at least, then we get even more where because he has to take him to the.
I just like him
Right,
because
the
of his
billionaire thing.
innocence, in a sense,
Yes,
right? And like it showed at the billionaire thing.
right. I mean, because like that was that did make you cringe a little bit, just because that it just felt so bad to do that. But I mean, that's all it was. It wasn't really a joke so much as like a way to make you cringe.
Well, here's the thing. I think T.J. Miller is aware of this because certainly it's really all between the character Erlich and Jin Yang, and the actor who plays Jin Yang.
So context: they go to the Billionaires Club, which Hanneman gave them tickets to because he didn't want to go.
Yes, the $25,000 a person Muir Woods charity event.
Preservation Fund.
Yeah, for those of you out there, Muir Woods is across the Golden Gate. It's kind of a redwood place. It's where the new Planet of the Apes was set.
Muir Woods.
All right, there you go. Some people don't know where the fuck Muir Woods is. It's a redwood
I
forest.
have a question for you, Jeff. Like, so have you actually experienced the situation where there's really rich people that assume that you're also really rich or don't even think about it like that, or is that something that just is
So
just a
I've talked
story?
about this on the show.
Yeah.
But having our CEO at one company get up in front with another CEO at a company meeting and talk about yachts and houses as if this was a thing that everyone else in the room could relate
gross.
to.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to borrow your Maserati and then you can borrow my fucking McLaren. Oh, wouldn't that be fun? And it's like, fuck you, motherfuckers. Now, I am not poor by any stretch. I am fine. I am more
That's
than
on the
fine.
record, everybody. Jeff is not poor by any stretch.
I will buy you a latte, and I won't even think about it. Be
And
like
that-
$3.
and that's
what?
the end of our listenership. All right, there we go.
But like, have you seen that shit?
I've seen that. Yes, I had the CEO of the one of the previous companies I worked for. He would get up on stage in the big company meetings and just like laments how much a Bugatti costs. Like, you know, they say, oh, they listed as 1.5, but like you can't drive it off the lot for like less than 3.
They're so out of touch.
Yeah, but like, and it's kind of weird to him. He'd be talking about this in a company-wide meeting. It doesn't even make any sense.
my pyramid
are the number
of slaves that died.
But he would say that he would do that when he did that when the company was like really struggling. It was like the stock price had dropped like 80% or whatever, and then he gets and he just starts immediately talking about a Bugatti. I don't know what's going through his head why that was the right thing to do at that moment, but like somehow that kind of worked for him.
So are you guys
Worked. Air quotes.
Yeah, it worked for him.
Yeah.
So Erlich gets these tickets from Russ Hanneman. And we're talking about Russ Hanneman's girlfriend Nastia in a
I
moment.
completely believe that character wouldn't even think twice about swiping a credit card for $25K.
No.
Right?
Russ Hanneman,
Right.
but,
Yeah.
but wait. Is it that Russ Hanneman just simply assumes that Erlich Bachman has that money?
I bet you he didn't
Or
even
was
think about it.
But wait, but if we look at the way he treated Erlich in the previous episode, I think it was more of just kind of like a fuck you.
An intentional-
Because he knew that he wasn't going to be able to pay $50,000.
I don't think Erlich registers enough.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like the joke to me.
So
the joke is he doesn't even.
He lives in a world where people can simply spend $50,000 on a ticket.
It's just not even a thing.
2 tickets. Yeah.
It's not even a thing.
So this again, so he gets the tickets because they go for their first board meeting and they're talking about hires. This is where the hire about Jared Patakian, the cyborg, who again fucked over Erlich at Aviato. He votes no, and then in turn he votes yes with Hanneman to spend yet another $30,000. They've now spent $60,000. They've made no revenue on billboards and now $30,000 on foam fingers and swag. But prior to this, we meet Hanneman's latest fuck, Nastia.
Oh, you're changing the subject.
No. But I want to talk about Nastia. I want to talk about Nastia, the way we meet Nastia, and we'll probably never see her again. I'm not sure. And this is where we meet the true lady of the episode, the lady, which is the
voice.
Babysitting voice. But Nastia comes up to Richard, waves her hand, and says, Jew.
And we're back at Schindler's List.
Very. Hanneman says, don't worry about it. She's got some really great ideas about Jewish people and actually more bad ones.
And some bad ones. Yeah.
But the Jew wave is kind of scary and terrifying.
It's kind of interesting because they've had this Jew theme a couple of episodes, right? Like there was the thing about the
billboard. Well, the
Gavin.
Yeah,
like he was like
Gavin
saying how
Belson,
he was comparing what he was going through to the Holocaust.
And that was just last episode.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting.
Yeah, it's like what I don't know what's going on there because I mean there's
two somewhat.
Because that's not actually a thing I've experienced in Silicon Valley. Actually, anything
Jewish things, anti-Semitism.
No, it just hasn't really happened. Like I mean, there's
plenty of racism. There's just not anti-Semitism. Yeah,
I guess so. I mean, like it's not even really a thing I equate with. I mean, there's plenty of racism in society, but like a Silicon Valley in particular,
strictly Silicon Valley, because
really?
I think there's about 17 black people, and so.
Well, right, but that's that's again a workforce problem.
There you go.
I don't think
about the freakonomics
racism.
There
I think there's more anti-women than racism.
There's a handful of that, like especially because like people like Ryan. Yeah.
And
it's back to me.
As we mentioned, Ryan's
because of the fact of my power position
in recruiting,
creating Avengers toys.
No, well, he's the only recruiter here, and let's count how many women he's hired in the last month.
I'm recruiter by night, toy maker by day.
Right.
We all know that. Okay.
I don't trust Ryan as far as I can throw him.
Smart move. So back to Erlich and Jin Yang. We do have to get this in here. It's an aside with Jin Yang. The next morning, of course, they did not get into the Muir Woods event because they didn't have $50,000. A quick note here. Interview with T.J. Miller today. I think T.J. Miller's even aware of this weird... We're on eggshells here with, like me not like fish kind of thing. He said in his mind, the character Erlich has paid for ESL classes for Jin Yang and works with him with flashcards every night. This is an interview today. I think it's in the AV Club. That's kind of funny to me that he's thought that far. And that's why he's so upset when he's... So this is the trash. This is recycling. What about the garbage? God damn it, or motherfucker, whatever he says.
That would actually help explain that scene at all to me, because like as it was like, why are you getting so upset?
Maybe a quick scene of them working it out. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And then later they end up at Taco Bell. We get more Jin Yang lines. I think it's funny because last episode I was saying to you, Jeff, of like, I'm going to count how many lines Jin Yang has had, thinking he would get a line an episode. He had a whole scene with Richard of we ended up at Taco Bell. Erlich started crying. He blamed it on the taco sauce as the actual line.
Yes.
It should be hot sauce.
I watched that 5 times because I could not understand. I heard he taco sauce, and I'm like, what the fuck is he saying?
Yep. But the fact
because part of it's he's mumbling as he's like walking out the door, right?
But see, that's again, that's why have that off camera. the two of them in tuxedos at a Taco Bell with Erlich bursting into
That's pretty good.
tears. That
Would have been a great scene, yeah.
That's TV. Come on. Why is that
That's
off
not TV.
camera?
That's HBO.
It's not TV.
It's too funny.
It's
Yeah.
HBO. And then full penetration.
Right.
Dream on.
With
Okay.
taco sauce as lube.
Ooh,
And then he's crying because he blamed it on the taco sauce, not because of the act that he was doing.
right.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
I want to bring it
Within
home here
Ryan's
with
dream.
yeah, I know. I want to talk about Big Head and his
See, that
promotion.
is setting up some conflict.
That definitely is.
That's true. It's setting up a big thing.
It is setting up a
That's
big thing.
obviously going to happen.
So Big Head. Well, I want to get into that, but first, again, Dinesh and Guilfoyle, Jared lines. Always have to. I just love the Jared lines. They had names for him. So this is Jared, OJ, original Jared, other Jared. The other names, like, hey, you know, when you call me retarded Frankenstein, my personal favorite, AIDS lady, and effeminate KD Lang. I just needed to get that out again because I love Jared lines. Those
I
are
was
really funny.
expecting Carla to kick in a little more on that. I just
She
wanted
was
her
in
to
the
dig
room.
into him.
Yeah, she was in the room. That's correct.
Because he's so easy to like nail, especially after that whole hiring discussion.
She does pick up on OJ, and like because they go in the kitchen, like OJ said that you wanted to, and he goes, "It's fine that you tell me that because in my mind I've changed it to original Jared."
Yeah.
What's the other line here? He says something like, "I know a name is just a sound that someone uses when someone needs you,
Right.
But shouldn't I be original Jared, or shouldn't he be the other Jared?" Oh boy, Jared, he's a great character. Okay, but Big Head. So Big Head is introduced here, and we're going to get back into social commentary here because this made me really upset here. So Big Head is introduced, as we know. Gavin Belson's going to use him as a secret weapon that he actually created Pied Piper while at Hooli. So Hooli XYZ is launched. First,
XYZ if you're in the UK.
XYZ
Right.
if you're
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
So here's the thing, guys, and for listeners and viewers out there, www.hooli.xyz.com. It's a real website, and it's absolutely hilarious. If you want to look it up, it's absolutely hilarious, as if they're launching this product, where it's a huge photo of Nelson Spaghetti Big Head with the real guy, Davis Banachek, who's played by Patrick Fischler. You've seen him in Mad Men and everything, who's the real scientist. Big font of, "It takes a big head to dream big." And then it's a ridiculous resume of Nelson Spaghetti. And then in the smallest font possible is the resume of the Davis Banachek character. It's very hilarious website.
Where's the social commentary?
Social commentary is coming. So what is this with the moonshot and all of this?
It's a website.
I know, Jeff. I can't get it out in 35 seconds for you. Hold on. So where it is,
My attention is fading.
Yeah, I know. Davis Banachek, this whole thing of their head dreamer and co-dreamer and all that. So I did my research here. What they're writing about are these bullshit titles. In particular, David Shingy with AOL.com, the digital prophet. This is what they're doing here.
Digital prophet.
The co-dreamer and dreamers
my
and
last
all that.
company had a chief excellence officer.
There you go. So he's a complete bullshit jobs, and this is
Mine
where
too.
Could have
Not
been
excellence, but
CEO, but it was instead CXO because it would have been confusing.
you're the chief cheerleader officer.
unbelievable.
Chief
So, are you guys familiar with Shingy?
No.
I get really. So Shingy, he works for AOL.
I'm
It's
still
called-
waiting on the social commentary.
Well, yeah, I mean that this actually exists.
Is that a social commentary as much as it is?
It's a surprise, really,
Well,
or a naivete, maybe.
no, but the fact that this kind of job can exist, this guy makes, I think it's like $850,000 a year.
Yeah.
To working through AOL to say ridiculous things such as.
You know what? I'm going to give you this. This
Yeah.
is commentary. Can we all agree this is commentary?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
This is commentary. Sweet.
Sure. Yes. Okay.
And we're talking. It's social. It's social commentary.
Yeah. Right.
Nailed it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like
Nailed it.
yeah, you put it on Facebook, social.
Yeah. Social.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Well, so I find this interesting because he talked about
Determined to get this out.
he talked about because he used the term solo-mo, right? He wasn't responsible for solo-mo, and as we know, that was in last season. But I find this hilarious. He goes, everyone's talking. This is Shingy. This is the guy who makes almost $1 million to do nothing and look fucking ridiculous.
Yes.
Look him up, Shingy. Look at his fucking website.
Okay, look him up. Get the
Look
point
him
out.
up.
Come on.
I know. We got to hurry. Solo-mo, right? Social, local, mobile. He goes, everyone's talking about solo-mo. They should be talking about, without irony, homo mobile. This is a statement that he released, not as a comedian. This guy also, he's known for going into the CEO of AOL, removing his desk, and putting in a circle of leather chairs. And the CEO's asked him, like, how does this? Don't worry about it. It's ridiculous. It's that kind of nonsense. Unbelievable. But there you go.
So
Shingy.
Can we go back to talking about Schindler's List?
Oh, sure. Go ahead, Jeff.
So what I liked about that movie was the grayscale nature.
The grayscale. What about the girl in the red dress?
I didn't like that.
No,
it was
because
too red.
Distracted from the
It's
grayscale.
distracted from the grayscale.
Right.
That's my social commentary.
Right. I see that. You know, Ryan, I think you're making a valid point that some people make a lot of money for things that you don't understand.
So you're supporting Shingy.
I don't know. I don't know what he's doing.
I don't know
But
what
he
he
did
does.
come up with the idea of
really
homo,
you've never
which
heard
has
of
really
Shingy?
caught on.
Yeah, no, he didn't create the word homo. If he did, he'd be a terrible man. I don't understand.
okay.
All right. Okay.
This has gone off the rails.
It's gone. No, it was never on the fucking rails, Jeff.
I had it together when we were talking about IHOP at the beginning, but
Yeah, there we go. IHOP again. There we go. All right. Yeah. Okay. The only tech that was actually mentioned in this episode, I had to rewind this. I don't know if this is nonsense. Is in Carla's interview. I'm just gonna say this one.
no, it was
we'll do the
on
quiz.
Jared's interview too.
Yeah, his was a little bit more easy to understand. This one, I'm not sure. Carla Walton goes, so basically I take the VPN9 ADR to reduce beds, and then I run WebRTC to handle the bulk of the load via P2P.
Right.
Is that nonsense or is that real?
It's real, but I mean, probably not actually legitimate technology choices, but like they're
so
real
then it's not real. So it's technology words strung together.
It's kind of technology words strung together. But WebRTC
Well, then that's bullshit,
WebRTC
you know?
is a peer-to-peer technology,
Yeah.
and so you could use that to communicate different things.
The bulk of the
peer-to-peer.
load, and she's talking
Right.
about putting it on the user's bandwidth, so therefore they
Like
pick
BitTorrent.
up the
It
cost.
makes sense.
BitTorrent's
Like
peer-to-peer.
BitTorrent.
Ah,
Yes.
Yeah.
So
All right.
it's not
Okay.
it's not crazy. You know, it's like what she's saying is not crazy. Without context, you can't tell whether it makes any sense or not.
Much like every hiring rec you probably ever see.
Very true.
It's just like, here's buzzwords. You go LinkedIn search those, and you come bring us back resumes that match.
Tech
the
people aren't on
buzzwords.
LinkedIn. We all know that.
I am. Do I ever reply to recruiters on LinkedIn? No.
Yeah. Don't use LinkedIn to find tech people. They will not respond to you. Okay.
I prefer Tinder.
I actually work WebRTC all the time at my job, actually, but I use it for video,
What does RTC stand for?
real-time communications.
Okay, got it.
But like, you know, it's just I mean, it's a technology that can transmit audio and video very efficiently. It can also transmit data. And the standard way to use it is from one computer to another without going through a server. If you go through a server,
Hence the peer-to-peer.
yeah, right. And if you go through a server,
Peer-to-peer,
you have
yep.
to pay for the bandwidth cost and to run the server.
Got it.
Which you know,
You don't
costs
if
money.
you do the user.
If you
Because
don't,
the user pays for their
the
own
user
shit.
pays for it. So like, it makes sense what you said.
You know what's interesting is I read this today that Cisco released this today that they're saying by the year 2017, 70% of all traffic on the internet will be basically video files.
That
do you
makes
think about
perfect
that?
sense.
I'm shocked that it's not that
Yeah,
now.
it seems like it should be
But
higher.
what's interesting is that's exactly what Pied Piper is designed for. It's kind of weird. Kind of weird.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean,
For the music originally, but video makes.
But is it weird?
Video's a bigger file, right?
If I was going to do some research on a show about technology, I'd probably do something about technology that's actually semi-relevant.
video.
I wouldn't do it on optical character recognition or something like that.
Oh,
that would be kind of crazy.
that
Yeah.
would be
I
kind of
mean,
crazy.
it seems like they are actually doing that stuff pretty well as far as the show is concerned. Like, the tech, I mean, the part that they blew up was like the last episode last season, which was stupid in my opinion, but other people liked it. So,
Which part of the last episode?
well, where they go to the conference and there's like this big dramatic episode and
Yeah.
and all kinds
And
of garbage, and then like somehow he
performs so much more.
He came out with an idea that would be like, touring award winning, like just overnight, like all that's kind of bullshit. But it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen.
Okay, yeah.
Every big idea is never like a genius coming up with it. It's like a genius being incrementally better than somebody else, but it's past some threshold to be relevant.
It was more of like the home run hit at the bottom of the ninth kind of thing. But that's not really how.
That's not how baseball works.
It's not at all.
Yeah,
That's right.
Baseball
we
is
know
just-
baseball is peer to peer.
Right, baseball
because there's
is
a lot
just,
of video
just
file
like
traffic.
just like the
Lot of
the
video
Mayweather Pacquiao fight where they just dance around each other and then you go home disappointed.
Yeah, that's pretty much baseball.
Yes, baseball.
Pretty much it. Pretty
Yeah.
much it.
You're like, how much did I fucking spend on beer?
That was what? Who won? I don't even remember who won.
All I know is I'm out $60.
Yeah.
I think I had 2 beers and some fucking
Jesus.
peanuts.
Insane.
Yeah, I had a pretzel. I think I had a soft pretzel. That was the best part of my night.
It's their social commentary.
I forget what park it is, but one park has the most expensive beer. The most expensive beer at a ballpark is $19 a cup. $19.
Sounds like the new Niners stadium.
It's not here. I don't know what it's somewhere,
yeah.
but that's fucking ridiculous.
That's a lot of money.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, so there you go. That's episode 4, The Lady. Brian Fields, any closing thoughts on this episode before we jump into the Scrum Masters?
I thought that this episode was like it was interesting to watch, like because like I kept recognizing a lot of the stuff in there, but not that entertaining. That was what I kind of thought like. Oh well, yeah, that's like that. That's like real life. Oh, that's like real life. But then they didn't go that deep on it either, and then it wasn't that funny. And I was like, okay, well there you go.
That's how I felt about the Avengers.
Yeah.
Like I walked out of that movie like that happened.
Right.
And that episode I kind of felt like, well, that happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the highs of Jin Yang, because I love that guy.
Yeah.
Because I'm pro race.
Yeah, I can see that. About
You're pro race.
Yeah.
Pro race. You just enjoy.
I love race.
I also imagine you being like pro children. Is that true too?
Weird.
No, I'm definitely
pro-race.
anti-children.
Oh, anti-children.
I'm also really anti-racist children.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
duh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Duh.
Unless they're under 5.
You should get rid of them early. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I really don't like sexist children. Actually, like
Sexist children are kind of
sexist
annoying.
children are
don't-
awesome.
People don't play with the
Princess
female
Leia?
dolls.
Yeah.
What the hell? I don't
They don't have the
understand.
Baroness. I don't get it.
There you go. No, Jeff, actually, I like your comparison of episode 4, The Lady, to Age of Ultron, where it's nothing but setup. Age of Ultron is really just set up
For the
All the way-
Infinity Gauntlet
all
series.
the way to the
yeah.
mid-credit thing with, yet again, another
Spoiler alert.
another Josh Brolin turning around of like, something's gonna happen. I was in the Goonies. It's like this is like the 6th one of like purple grimace Josh Brolin turning around of like, I'm still on this meteor throne. I'm gonna do things later. There you go. Okay.
True.
Wow.
There you
Yeah, you really nailed it there, Ryan.
Thank you. I'm working for the audience, not for you guys. I've given up on you two. All right, so you
good.
guys are ready to play the Scrum Masters quiz?
The audience didn't get this far.
Let's do it.
All right,
Nobody's
good.
listening,
Of
so
course
let's
they
go for
are.
it.
Of course they are. I don't understand why mic levels are so fucking important. But there we go. Get the mic levels right because no one's listening. Oh, what did you just raise your voice? Okay. Scrum Masters quiz, everybody. Here we go. As I try and make these somewhat related to the episode. Jeff, I know Brian's played before, but can you tell Brian how we play, and we'll jump right
Just
in.
answer the fucking questions to get this over with.
Here we
Okay,
go.
got it.
Okay. Scrum Masters.
You're getting the
quiz.
first one. I'm not doing this again.
Okay, Brian knows how it's played here. Question number 1. So we were talking about earlier, the title of the episode is The Lady, where Russ Hanneman, of course, has this speaking computer voice that puts his kid to bed, right? And that's basically a text-to-speech type of program to a degree, right?
Right.
So I'm asking you, gentlemen,
All right.
question number 1, what was the name of the very first text-to-speech program?
Ooh.
Bonus points for the year.
Text to speech.
So the first time that a computer or machine spoke through basically text to
Wow,
speech.
that's
Typing in, I want you to say this. It said it.
I know.
So
You
I want
know
the
this
name
answer?
and the
Go.
year,
I'm not
please.
sure that I know this answer actually. So I mean, I was thinking you were going to ask about that the computer that where you could talk and it tells you back. You know, like the Eliza, like the therapist thing. But you weren't going to say that. You're going to say something. Talk. I don't know. Go for it, Joe.
Well, okay.
This is 1963.
1963. I like it.
Jesus.
Yeah. And it was, there was a guy who was really hungry, couldn't read the menu,
Yeah.
went home, much like Richard did with this compression algorithm, went to the hotel room and just banged it out. This guy went and banged out some punch cards
I see what you're saying.
Right.
to read the IHOP menu back to
Damn.
him. And the first words spoken were Rudy Tooty.
No.
That
And what
sounds
was the
right.
name of the program again? I'm sorry.
I who?
It was the IHOP. Okay. And how did it sound? Do you remember how it sounds?
That was the thing, is like after
that's
that,
not-
it was like pancakes and eggs were unintelligible, but Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity was.
So I'm a well-to-do businessman. I'm going to the first IHOP that has this machine. And
No,
I
this
come
guy
in-
did it for himself.
I
This
don't
wasn't
really feel
IHOP
like-
sponsored.
Yeah.
They weren't that big yet.
Yeah.
I don't feel like this is right.
Machine, I would like to order.
All right, genius. Give
No.
your
No?
answer.
All right.
I mean, I don't know.
Machine, one order of Rudy Trudy Fresh and Fruity,
No.
please. Can you speak it back to me?
You mistake.
Yeah.
It didn't understand. You asked the question of reading it back.
Yeah.
Text to speech, not actually understanding speech.
That's true.
Okay.
It's different.
That was in 1982, and that research was actually done by IHOP
Oh.
to understand orders.
What was the name of that program?
Ooh.
So it went from IHOO to just
Do you like IHOP? Is that
Yeah.
the
No,
thing?
I really don't.
That's really a terrible food.
It's-
I don't know.
Yeah. It's Jeff doing heavy lifting in every episode.
I've been to IHOP, I think, 7 times in my life.
Yeah.
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 Oh, I thought you meant how many times you've used IHOP as an answer, which would be more than 7 times.
Yeah, it would be more
Yeah.
than 7 times. Right, Brian, you got one?
Okay, yes. What's the name of that and what year did that happen? Yeah.
I mean,
Come on.
like, so okay.
Yes, and.
1981.
Uh-huh.
It was Bill Gates.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess realistically this is too old, too late, but we'll see.
Well, no, because
Okay, anyway, Bill Gates, 81.
there's a difference between text to speech and punch cards to speech. Because
true.
like you have to actually have the text itself, right? And that was like the thing that came.
I qualified
later.
the question with machine. I
Right.
would say machine.
And so as Bill Gates, it wasn't with what he's famous for with
Yeah.
Windows or DOS or anything.
Oh, no.
no. It was he was working on his Odyssey 2 while he was at home.
Yep.
And he rewired it so that he could tell his wife to go fucking cook dinner already.
Really?
Yeah, that's what happened.
Wow.
Because he's really an asshole.
What was the name of? What did he name it?
Go get some, make me some dinner. man.
No, but it was I think it was called Lazarus.
It's called Lazarus,
Yes.
1981
Oh,
or
was that
82.
the Lazarus Project?
Right? Yeah. I think you heard of it.
Did it have
Yeah.
a robotic voice?
Well,
what did it sound like? Do
I
you
mean,
remember what it sounded like?
It was a little waddling.
Yeah?
A little waddling in the throat, I think. Yeah.
So, like, what was a thing it would say? Do you
I-
remember? I mean, you've done your research.
I mean, I haven't actually. I didn't have one. You know.
No, I am not. I don't
Yeah, it's
assume
like
that you did,
I
but you
couldn't-
know so much about
Right,
it.
it was like do you get dinner, bitch?
Oh, okay. That sounds about right.
Right,
It's
yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, these both sound great, guys.
I'm right.
You know, some people say the name of the first text-to-speech machine, I'm not going to call it program, but machine, was called Voter by an inventor named Homer Dudley, which was unveiled at the 1939 New York World's Fair. The actual first program was in the 50s, but Voter is known, quite frankly, as the first text-to-speech machine.
And how did that work, Brian?
No. Well, some people say that.
What did it sound like?
Some
Yeah,
people
what did
say
it
that.
sound like?
What did it allegedly sound like?
Well, that in 1939. But what's interesting is
No, I want to know what it allegedly sound like. Don't bitch out.
No.
No, don't bitch out.
No. It sounded exactly because it's 1939. What's interesting is it was actually based off of the real answer, which, funny enough, is from 1912. Which is really weird, and it's used to this day in the Bay Area. It's actually the voice that announces incoming BART trains.
How did I know? Because Ryan wrote this on BART.
So for example, is like incoming train. Pittsburgh, the Kaiser is right.
That's
which is
not
weird
how
that
it sounds
says
at all.
that, which is weird that it says that. That's
That was
strange.
worse than Rich Stimber's impression of BART.
Yeah, how does that go, Jeff?
Incoming BART. I can't even do Rich. See,
Oh,
it's
okay,
too
well,
good.
that's okay. All right.
Yeah, but I still want to hear what the Vodor sound like.
Well, the Vodor is the same because they're both. So the 1912 BART, the Kaiser is always going to be the best winner. The 1939 World's Fair, which is strange, is Hallo, Heil Hitler. It's strange that they both are pro-German. That's really weird.
Why would that be the case? I thought the World's Fair was like a pretty non.
I don't know. It's really strange. It's really strange.
I think Hitler was also like
completely
8.
Not true, except for the fact that voter is the right answer.
It's so surprising, really.
It is shocking. It is shocking. Okay, well, we did good there in our first round. We're tied up.
Yeah, let's get this over
we're
with.
We're going to Jeff wants to get it over with. He's wanting to get it over with.
I need my nap.
He wanted to get it
I don't even
over
know
with
why
from
we
the
do this anymore.
beginning,
This may
really.
be our last episode.
Yeah.
I just
everybody.
wanted to bang
Okay,
Brian
so
Fields.
question number 2 here. Here we go. Where? Okay, so we're talking about to give you some backstory. What's his name? Hanneman spent $30,000. At the end of the episode, we get foam fingers with the Pied Piper
Yes.
logo on it, which is ridiculous. Again, I had to really fucking dig deep for this one. But those giant foam fingers, $30,000 worth of those. Where, and bonus points for when, where was the first appearance of the giant foam finger? Bonus points for a year.
Got this.
When is the first
Yeah.
time it ever appeared? Bonus points for a year. Jeff?
Want to guess where?
Good vibrations.
No.
No.
Again.
It's a sex store here in San Francisco.
Right.
The only people listening are
places.
not local, by the way, so we have to explain that. Nobody
understand.
local listens to that.
That
this at
makes
all.
sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that would be our friends, and they don't listen to this. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would think that it would happen somewhere where people are rooting, like
rooting?
possibly for something they care deeply about.
Okay.
Probably Nazi Germany for Hitler.
Really?
Yeah, it was like big Hitler fingers.
I know you're wrong, but
Yeah.
similar vein. It was at a Black Panther rally.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
really?
what was ironic was there was
Oh,
an
dear.
error in the whole ordering process,
Yeah.
and they were white fingers.
Oh, so they were white. We're number one. It said we're number one, and they were bright white fingers.
Yes, like bleached
Kinda
ass
weird.
white fingers. Not even
Okay.
like maybe that's a tan
Okay.
finger or beige.
Yipes.
It was
All right.
That's
Uh,
awkward.
yeah, which is
that's
why
really
there's not too
awkward.
many pictures of them
Right.
out there. They didn't really
Yeah.
enjoy that
Yeah,
so
a
much.
lot more pictures of that woman.
Yipes.
Yeah.
I feel uncomfortable with that answer. All right, but it could be right. Both of you could be right. Now, it's interesting because some people say it was 1971, invented by a man named Steve Kemlar, to root for the Ottoman High School Iowa basketball team in their finals. It is still on display there. All right, there you go. But the true answer is, unfortunately, Brian, can you read what I wrote here?
Sure.
This would be his brother.
Oh, wow.
His brother invented
This is
that.
1936.
Yeah.
It's Freddie Hitler. It's a failed Nazi salute.
Yeah, so Adolf's brother, was trying to
Wow.
help out.
He thought the hand extended was a little
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
I knew it was. I knew it.
It's
had to
weird
do with
because your
Hitler.
answer
Yeah.
was so close to
It's
that. but
very
that-
close.
so
really.
that's-
It's understandable.
It's almost
Yeah.
exactly it. Really.
There's a lot of Nazi jokes tonight.
It's understandable that you would
Why are
get.
we talking about so much Nazi
I
things?
think that's probably the lazy comedian's way
Oh
out.
boy, everything is so Nazi. It's
Not going to
terrible.
disagree.
Oh boy. All right. Okay, so everyone's tied up here. We're just gonna wrap this up here. Question 3.
IHOP is how a classic comedian turns something
Right.
into.
Yeah.
Okay,
You at least you have
yeah.
your own thing. Something nobody cares about.
Question 3. Question 3 is always a Price is Right rules joke. So we're talking about here of Pied Piper trying to staff up.
Joke should be an air
Or
quotes.
joke or question, whatever it is. So Pied Piper trying to staff up, trying to build their staff. So Hooli, as we know, loosely based on Google.
Yeah.
As of the end of Q1 2015 this year, how many employees does Google currently have in total? That would be global.
Global.
So closest, without going over, wins.
I would say. I'm gonna say 1.5 billion.
Whoa, you're okay.
Right.
Can you back that up a little bit? Why? That's a lot.
Because everybody that searches looks at the ads.
I'm gonna
That
have.
doesn't. No.
I'm gonna have some real social commentary.
All right.
7. Most of them are hourly contractors to get around California labor law.
Is that the max
Wow.
they can have?
You know what, Jeff is probably right. Quite frankly, and that's the weird thing about tech is most people who work for tech have no benefits. They're hourly contractors. That's
Not most, but there's a good chunk.
It's a good chunk.
It's a good chunk.
They make so much money though.
So we're
Yeah.
so bookends here. 1.5 billion.
Yeah.
And 7.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, this is safely in between.
Okay.
Winning.
There we go.
Damn.
As of Q1 2015, Google had 55,419 employees globally. There you go. It's a
How-
Scrum Masters quiz.
How many of them women?
Everybody
Yeah.
wins.
How many were women?
Oh, that's
Ryan?
right. You didn't look it up because
Probably
you're
didn't
sexist.
care. Probably didn't care how many were
I'm
women.
checking it. Zero.
Zero women.
Zero.
Yeah, that
They're
seems about
all
right.
white men. All right.
Pretty close.
There you go.
Within the margin of error, I guess.
0 plus or minus.
That is true.
1.
Brian Fields ending on some social
Caramba.
commentary.
Okay. So there you go, everybody. That is season 2, episode 4, The Lady. Closing thoughts, gentlemen. Closing thoughts.
Wieners. Social commentary.
I really want some IHOP.
We need to get fucking sponsorship. This is ridiculous.
We should hire more women coders. Go to girls.
You don't
listen,
really- you
listen,
don't
listen
feel that.
girls. Study computer science.
Study
Because
computer
I
science.
really want to have sex with you.
So
there he
there's
is
the
again. Okay, Cupid. For those of you who remember
Right.
last
Yeah,
season,
Sexy
There
engineer.
you go.
Look me up.
There you go. All right. Well, that was a lot of fun. Thanks for listening, everybody. We will catch you next week for episode 5. In the meantime,
We will.
stay compressed, everybody.
Ah.